and welcome to Deals with Heels, where female entrepreneurs thrive. I'm Deborah.
And I'm Christina.
We are your hosts. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Good to be back.
It is very nice to be back again.
Yes. Fall's in full motion now.
It is. It's like I don't want to give up summer, but I'm so ready for fall.
I didn't realize till this year of how much I love the 70 to 75. Perfect temperature.
Yeah, Santa Barbara, California. That's why it's so expensive to live in those really nice places.
Manifesting Santa Barbara. No,
I think there's some of those places exist in Israel, which is where our guest is from today.
Absolutely. Let's get to her.
I'm excited. She's we're going to talk about something that we haven't talked about on Deals with Heels yet. So I'm excited for it. She is a mentor for women in tech and spent 20 years as an engineer. She's passionate about supporting women in the technical industry. She knows firsthand what it is like to be a woman in a male-dominated field and all of the challenges that women face in those fields. 2 years ago, upon her return to Israel, after spending 9 years in the U.S., she decided to follow her calling and support women's career growth. She started and hosts a podcast, From a Woman to a Leader. Please welcome Limor Bergman Gross to Deals with Heels. Welcome.
Hi Deborah. Hi, Christina.
Hi.
To be here today.
We are so excited to have you on the show. And that we were able to get you booked before we're almost finished with this season.
Yes, I cannot believe
I'm
that.
super excited that we could do it. And I love your studio and your outfits and everything. It looks perfect.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. We like to dress up, so
Well, I mean, honestly, that's the whole reason for the podcast is our heels and, all of that. So
we bonded over high heels, and so we've done pretty well. We haven't worn the same thing twice on an episode yet, so we've done pretty well to get it done. And it was easier when we were at the table last season because you didn't have to worry about the bottom half of you. But now, of course, so we like it. And we will put your full bio in the show notes, but I'm really interested in how your return to Israel affected your finding yourself and finding your passion and moving into your entrepreneurial kind of phase. Is it something that happened kind of before and you moved to kind of fulfill it, or did you go home and then it came to you then? We're both been on a very spiritual journey ourselves, and so I'm interested in that.
For sure, yeah. So it was a multi-year process, and I was an employee my whole life up until 4 years ago, and I never knew anything else. But as I grew into leadership positions and having more impact, I felt that I really want to utilize my impact to my passion, to see more women in tech, and not just in tech, but thrive there and get to the top. And both, like, my personal journey was not, I was not lacking any challenges, but also, like, a lot of times I was the only woman in the room, and I said, we should see more women here. So I started mentoring in 2017. I started mentoring pro bono, just not even asking for money. And I saw the impact. And I try to be heavily involved in the company, like in the women ERGs, and try really to make a lot of impact. And then eventually I felt like that's not enough. I need to do more. I actually found my mission. But the thing is, for me, it was very, very intimidating to leave the world of, being an employee in corporate. That was the only thing I knew. And I was scared. I was really scared of leaving that comfort. I had good jobs, high paying jobs. And I felt like when we got back here to Israel, because we already changed our life, right? I have 4 children. I had to kind of move them out of what they knew for most of their life. Moving to Israel, said, okay, I have to make also this change in my career. Otherwise, I would never do it. I always feel afraid.
I identify with that because I raised 5 kids and I sacrificed a lot to raise them. And part of that is just because everybody's needs come first when you're the mom. And I felt drawn to support women and women's issues, but I was afraid to do it. I was worried about what people would think. I was, really in mom mode. I worked, but I was building other people's businesses, not my own. And so I really identify with that fear of doing it. And honestly, it took, tragedy to force me to really reevaluate where I was in my life and what I really wanted moving forward. And that's when I started my advertising agency, and then met Christina, and we started our podcast, and she had a very similar corporate experience too.
Oh yeah. I mean, here's the thing is up until 3.5 years ago, I quit learning. I never picked up a book after high school. I literally, the only learning I did was for my job because I was going to be the best of it. And that's it. And so it was hard when I finally started going through my spiritual awakening and actually learning and pouring into myself. It was like, wait, what? There's a whole nother world, and you don't even realize that you've isolated yourself. And then I wasn't even I couldn't have a conversation with people because I wasn't keeping up with anything, if that makes sense. Like, and so, you
I
know,
definitely isolated myself too from my friends. If I'd have talked to even one of my friends and told them, I'm a Scorpio, we're mysterious, we don't want to talk about things. But if I would have, they would have been like, what the hell is wrong with you, Deborah? What
mhm,
is going on? That's so not like myself. I became such a ghost of who
who
I
I
was, even though I was functioning and I was a really good mom. It wasn't, my true self wasn't there anymore, and it feels good to have it back.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, to me, this is almost the first time I've had my true self because
Yeah.
I've had to mask most of my life that
Hmm.
it's like, "Well, who are you?" Well, I don't even know that. Like, I'm discovering new things that I love that never in a million years I thought I would love, so
We I do want to get into, I have a specific topic I want to talk to you about, but I wanted to tell you that we had a guest on our show in person who started a nonprofit called Workers United to help females get into trades like electricians and painters and all of those businesses. I think that would be a great person to hook you up, to connect you with, that you kind of are both doing a similar thing a little bit. And I think that she could probably learn from you and vice versa. You have a lot of experience working with teams and putting all of that together, and lots more experience in a male dominated world than she does, but they'd be a great
oh,
catch
yes,
up.
yes.
Well, one of the thing that really stood out, of course, we try to always have somebody with something new to that's going to really benefit our audience and us personally too. And one of the things that stood out, and it's something that we haven't had on the show, is your personal branding on LinkedIn. It's one of the few ways to social media business to business, and a lot of us are in personal branding. And if you're on LinkedIn, even if you're there for your business, it's personal. You're attached to your personal page. And we've never had anyone that was an expert at doing that on the show. And I think you're going to have a lot of insights to it. I wanted to ask, tell us about your kind of system or how you attack personal branding. I liked your LinkedIn page. I checked it out.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
Mhm.
I think that first of all, social media and LinkedIn is changing all the time. So I think you have to kind of be willing to evolve and learn all the time. Eventually, it's all about telling stories, being yourself, and getting yourself out there so people can connect with you and feel like they know you even though they don't know you. And what I try to do is I try to diversify my content because I understand that different people like different things. So I try to put videos, I try to create articles or blog posts, so different kind of content that different people can relate to. And the thing is that I looked at LinkedIn as a marathon. It's like, okay, I'm doing that and I'm not expecting the immediate returns. I'm not judging everything that they do based on how many impressions I had or how many likes. And this is very difficult, right? Because we tend to be, we tend to be very impatient in social media, and we want to see the immediate rewards.
In all of the marketing and advertising. I mean, and I'm a very sales oriented marketing person. I'm constantly, how is this going to grow? How's it going to work? What is your strategy behind that? And you're exactly right. It's a marathon on lots of different kinds of social media, and other marketing sometimes is too, but definitely creative advertising is. There's no way to get to know someone fast. I mean, there is a way, but not online. You can
Not for the
immerse
complete.
yourself, right? I guess if
Yeah.
we immersed ourselves in a Zoom lock-in. Oh, remember they used to have those lock-ins and you had to get along, and you
Yeah.
could do that, like not let people out of the Zoom meeting.
I think the best tip I can give is like, be yourself and don't be afraid to show who you are and be vulnerable. People really need to see you as you are and not trying to mask away the challenges that you have and feelings you have. And maybe some days are better, some days are worse. Don't try to kind of paint everything in a very rosy picture. Try to be real and really try to build relationships with people. So what I do, for example, if someone send me a connection request or comment on something, I immediately reach out and I start a conversation and I thank people. Hey, thank you so much for connecting with me. And with some people, I say, hey, let's jump on a call. Let's just get to know each other a little bit. And I'm not expecting anything in return. I'm not expecting like that they will become a client or anything like that. And you'll be surprised. Some people reach out to me years after, we can say, oh, we talked several years back. And I really want to work with you. So it's like you nurture those relationships with people and don't expect them to become immediately clients.
I'm a little bit suspicious of people that reach out to me like that. It, Not always. I'm working on it. LinkedIn is so full of sales content in your messaging, and it's hard to stand out from that. How do you stand out for that when you're just cold calling out? Because I mean, there's so much. I own an advertising agency, so all the marketing stuff and all the app builders, and I'm inundated with it, and I appreciate it. It's my industry, so I do appreciate it. But I would love to make it easier for that non-sales message to reach out.
I think that I'm not doing a lot of cold calls, and maybe I should. I mean, many people say I should, but I
Well, but when
feel like
people connect with you, it is you don't really know them. They may just be connecting to add people. I think it's an assumption to think that they're really looking long and hard at your profile before they decide to connect with you. So in some ways, it really is cold calling. You don't really know them, and you know what I mean?
yeah, I know what you mean. But if someone commented on something I put or reach out to connect with me, so they took a first step, which means to me I may not know them, but what I do know that I did something that caught their interest. And if it caught their interest, so probably what I'm doing is relatable to them and I can start a conversation. And typically I would start to get a conversation around them. So I try to look a little bit about what they do, what they care about, and start a conversation about, hey, I looked at this, I saw that you posted here, or they commented on something. So it will be relatable for them rather than me, because we tend to think about ourselves all the time and what we do and how important we are and how much we want to get from every person, instead of thinking about them and like, okay, what is that person doing and how can I connect with them based on what interests them.
That's perfect. That's a perfect sales mindset. That I do sales coaching. It's the perfect sales mindset of, um, how can I help this person?
Mhm.
How can I help people that they know? And how do I listen better to what they're saying and being genuine? And that in and of itself does stand out because you're not, every sales message starts out with what I can do for you. You know, and so if it's really a genuine question, I have had some genuine conversations with people on LinkedIn, um, and that I've lost kind of touch with, probably because of 5,000 sales messages that are on top. I need to be more diligent about getting in, and it's hard to have so much social media. Y-
Do you Do you do more, just LinkedIn, or do you kind of, because honestly, I think I have a LinkedIn account, but I've never really even touched it, but I feel like the next chapter, like, LinkedIn keeps popping up in and out. So for somebody brand new into that space and trying to build their personal or their branding from that, what advice do you have for the people like me that know nothing but want to grow their business?
Well, I think that first of all, figure out who do you want to serve. Who do you want to serve? Who is your target audience? What problems they have, and start by thinking about how do you want to present yourself that will be relevant for those people and the problems you're solving. And LinkedIn kind of, I tend to think of it as a landing page. So if someone lands on your profile, what they see is your profile picture, your background picture, headline. Those are the top things they see. And that can be your, think about it as your landing page. What kind of message do you want to put there that will be relatable to your audience? And I would recommend is just to focus on one specific problem. And you can always change that, but kind of, think about it as you speak to a specific language and a specific person. So for me, for example, I usually talk to, and also when I write content, it's as if I'm talking to the woman that I want to serve. And if a man would read it and still think it's valuable, that's fine. I also work with men. But the thing is, I write and I imagine that woman that I want to help and I want to serve.
I think it would be a great place for your ADHD coaching because people in business struggle with ADHD, and they struggle partially because they're creative,
Mhm.
and they're trying to exist in the box that they gave us when they made us all workers, not thinkers. Thank you, Rockefeller in the United States. But, and I think that would be a great place for you because it reaches out to those
Mm.
professionals that ADHD people are smart, they're entrepreneurs, they're hustlers, but they struggle with the things that you can help them with.
And see, that's kind of what I was thinking. So yay. Thank y'all.
Absolutely, yeah. So absolutely, and what you can do, you can start looking for people that you know and start kind of building your network if you're just starting out fresh. So start with people that you know, start building your network, and figure out who they can connect you with. Like, who do they know that you think is relevant for you? And again, just do that for the sake of building your network and meeting people. And another great thing you can do is post content that is relevant. I'm sure that you have tons of stuff, and start kind of. I like to schedule content and drip it, and you can build a newsletter on LinkedIn. So there's a lot of things you can do. You can do LinkedIn lives, depending on what kind of thing you like doing, and by that, if you really talk to a specific problem that people have, people will start following you because they will see that you bring them value.
I love that. I mean, that's awesome.
I do too. And I think we forget about LinkedIn because it is business to business, but I think people think of it as corporate and they don't realize the parts of it that that entrepreneurs really reach out to, and that those people that are working in corporate that have LinkedIn pages need your services.
Yes.
So it's a great place for you to be for that reason too. I haven't done a lot of paid advertising on LinkedIn. It's been quite a while since I've done any of that. Did you do any of that?
I have done in the past. I haven't seen much rewards, to be honest with you. So, and All the influencers I follow, they also said that they don't do paid advertising. They just focus on organic reach. And
Mhm.
some of it is just they initiate, right? Conversations with people. So I haven't been able to see success with the paid advertisement on LinkedIn. And to be honest, when I get a paid content, I don't like it so much on LinkedIn. So I think that like
I
people are
don't either.
suspicious when they see something.
And you can, I mean, it clearly says when it's sponsored in your message box. And I get a lot of solicitations for people that offer that service as a part of whatever their agency is to sell to my agency so I can offer it to my clients and then outsource it to them. And I think it's annoying as well. Um, I don't know why. It's my industry. I shouldn't think it's annoying, but I do. I'm interested in what you think about the people that are on LinkedIn that a part of their brand has a shtick to it, right? It's a character that they're playing. You've seen who they are. It, I appreciate it, but for me, it would be so difficult to stay in that character all the time. um it would complicate it, but we've had a couple of guests that were like that and they were interesting. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a great way to stand out, or do you think it comes across as inauthentic? I would have a hard time making it authentic. You might be able to do it somewhat, but it's hard for me to do it. But you just have a little playful kind of thing. I don't know, but what do you think about it?
So I would not say, I mean, obviously, every person would do what they think is right for them. Me, authenticity is one of my core values. This is so important for me to be authentic. I would never try to put any mask. I try to be myself and just show up the way I am. Sometimes I can just go on a video, like I have something in my head I want to share. I'll just go on a video, I'll record a short video, and I'll put it out there. Real, like no production, nothing fancy, because that's me, and that's kind of the image I want to. I want to show myself as my true self, and to be honest, I really think that people appreciate that. They appreciate authenticity. They don't need all the fancy stuff. They just need to see real people that can solve real problems. So that would be
I
my recommendation.
I agree. We've talked a lot about authenticity, and I do from a marketing and sales message. Man, people can read through the bullshit. They just can. They can tell. That's why the AI thing, people can genuinely tell if something's specifically all AI. It just doesn't have that ring of authenticity that you get from it. And I understand the character, but are you going to be that forever? Because no one can play it forever. Eventually, your real self comes out. And I think that authenticity is really important. And I struggle with first person video and perfectionism and wanting it to always be good and putting all of that overshare. It's that the Scorpio, mysterious, mysterious. But I love it. I love it. I want to be better at it. And so
Yes, and I
you're
wanna
good at it. Well, you like yours to be really perfect too.
I'm getting better.
Yes.
I really am. It used to be I had to be in full makeup, full this. I mean, I would still be authentic, but I couldn't just go no makeup, that limiting belief of you always fully dress before you present
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Talk
So,
to me when you're in your 50s.
oh, believe me, yeah. So it's that has become a lot easier of just, okay, I'm doing a video. But yeah, it's sometimes listening to you talk or all of that. But you make a great point. This whole season is about becoming unstoppable. And I have heard from multiple ladies through our season about authenticity, being your truest form of self. What are some of your biggest things for our guests for becoming unstoppable? Like, what do you feel has helped you get to where you were versus in 2017 and 18, when you started all of this?
So first of all, I'm not done yet. I mean, it's a process.
Oh, yes, yes.
I evolve and learn all the time, and I think, and this is what I do with my clients as well. It starts from within. in order to be unstoppable, you really need to have your inner self. Really, you need to feel like I am awesome. Like I love myself. I think I'm awesome. I think I'm great. I think I'm have a lot of gifts. I have a lot of things to give to the world. It doesn't mean that I don't have my faults, but I see myself. I love what I see, and I appreciate myself. So this is an ongoing work. And I'm not saying there are not ups and downs. I'm not saying every morning I wake up and I say, hey, beautiful, what's going on? Some days are better, some days less. But in general, I work really on my self esteem and my image. And I connect with like minded people. I really invest. Just 2 days ago, I joined like a Slack community because I'm constantly looking to connect with like minded people because I think it helps. It helps me build my confidence to just connect with people like me and learn from people like me. And I constantly invest in my education. So I think first invest in yourself and whatever you need to do that will make you more confident in your abilities. Once you have that within you, just give it to the world. Just go out there and give your gifts to the world. I started by just doing stuff for free. And the amount of confidence that it gave me, this is something you cannot count in money. The confidence that I got just from starting mentoring is incredible. And till this day, I do give back and I mentor and I volunteer because some women, they don't have the money to afford, and we need to help them too. So I really believe in giving back as another avenue, not just to feel good and you feel like you're doing something good for the planet, but also as a way to build your self esteem and feel like you have things to give that people appreciate.
I love
I
that. That's fantastic because we talked about just in the last episode that giving back, and when I am mentoring somebody or encouraging, cheerleading somebody else on, and they get fired up and respond to it, it makes me feel good.
Oh,
It
yeah.
fires me up too. I can feel that energy from them, and it's the same thing. I love it so much.
Oh, yes. I always love just to give back in any which way I can. Like you said, it brings a whole nother life. And I mean, getting my shit together constantly, that self-care, that love for yourself, once it's so important because if we cannot put into ourselves, how are we going to put into anybody else? Period. If we don't fill our cup up first, how can we help anybody else?
100%.
Mm.
My story
Get your
definitely,
shit together, people.
yes, my story definitely started with getting myself healthier. I'd lost a bunch of weight. My mother had passed away, and I'd lost my marriage, and I was super, super thin, and I felt frail, and I could not have moved forward if I wouldn't have taken the steps to be healthier and to feel physically like myself. um, that was really an important part of my journey. Even though I was working on my spirituality and growing and healing, it's like my vessel wouldn't hold anymore.
Well, I
I
think that that's
needed to be strong enough to withstand just the emotional pain of going through and healing your trauma. And it affects you physically. You
oh,
have to
yeah.
be physically strong enough to get through it.
One
Absolutely. And
one
another thing I would say about being unstoppable, I think you need to have a very strong why. So when you wake up in the morning and you start your day, you have to start asking yourself, why am I doing this? What is my why? Because if you have a strong why, you will be able to continue despite challenges, and challenges will come, and there will be
Yep.
setbacks. And if I don't have my strong why of, okay, this is the impact I want to make, this is what I want people to remember me for, then I will give up. And I had and still have many days that I feel like, what am I doing? Why am I not just working as an employee and getting a steady paycheck? What am I thinking to myself? But I know why I'm doing this. So that keeps me kind of strong and motivated to move forward.
oh, yeah, because motivation is not gonna always be there. You
Nope.
gotta
Discipline
do
wins
it.
the
Yeah,
day.
oh yeah. And that's one of the hardest things I mean, it's struggle with, I think everybody struggles with daily, even no matter how successful, no how many years you've worked on yourself. Some days you just don't want to do it, and there's not that motivation that the discipline is gonna have to kick in.
And like Christina tells me on those days, well, Deborah, then you probably shouldn't do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm a workaholic and will power through. And so, sometimes that's just it. You just need to take a break, and I need to listen to that advice for sure. Well, as usual, we've come to the end of our episode, and we could just keep talking to Limor forever.
This has been a lot of fun.
It has
So,
been a really great episode. I really enjoyed connecting with you, and I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn.
and I will set up
For
my
sure.
profile so I can link with you.
For sure. And Christina, if you need help, you know how to reach me. So I'm happy
Oh,
to.
yes. See, I'm the one that emails. That's why I
That's
do it. I'm
right.
like,
That's
oh, yeah,
right.
right at my fingertips.
Well, and I've gotten pretty good at the Podmatch thing. I've gotten booked on quite a few podcasts too by working on my personal brand on Podmatch. And so I've gotten pretty good at that I mean, I should be. I'm a marketing person. I should be good at it. So I'll connect with you there too, but we have your contact information. And as we say goodbye, how can people find out and listen to your podcast and find out about your coaching services for women in tech?
Yeah. So best way is LinkedIn. Just look me up and Limor Bergman Gross, and you'll find me. And I usually recommend LinkedIn because that's how you can get to know me. I also have a website, but if you go to my LinkedIn page, you'll see all the information there. Also, my podcast, it's called From a Woman to a Leader. And listen to it and give me some feedback. I would love that. And that's it. I'd love to connect with all of you.
Perfect.
Fantastic. We will have links to her LinkedIn and website and podcast in our show notes. We'll also link to Christina's business, The Declutter Queen, and my business, Hexagon Media. And please like, share, download, and listen. We appreciate your support. Till
We're
next
out.
week. We're
We're
out.
out.